Boy, oh boy, do I got content for you guys today. I'm telling you right now, I went to the deep darks of YouTube's basement over here and I said, I need something a little different, just something nice and salty, something that is just absolutely brain damaging to the head and that just makes you want to sit there and think to yourself, what is wrong with this dude? And you know who I found? Can you take a guess, chat? You could probably already tell by the voice, well, not the voice, but the thumbnail and the title. Verlisify. Yeah, the dude that has a major hard-on for Wolfie VGC and the many other content creators that he likes to go after and, well, steal their content, essentially. Yeah, this dude is not very well liked, and I thought to myself, this dude's gotta have a bad take. He's got to slip up one of these times I'm gonna catch him. Spoiler alert. I caught him in the act. Yeah, we're going to be talking about the Switch 2 and Verlisify's interesting take on the Switch 2 and how the community is reacted to it. So I hope you guys are ready for this content, and hopefully you got yourself a nice little drink and a nice little snack, and we're just going to go ahead and dive right into the content because oh boy, this is going to be a long one.
Everything about the Nintendo Switch 2 is fair, except for that tech demo game. I cannot defend that. That is unacceptable.
Pardon me, but that's bullshit.
The tech demo, I do agree with you. That is absolutely fucking stupid of Nintendo to do. But the other stuff that's going currently on with the Switch 2, I totally disagree with you. Especially with the stick drift that's currently still in the Joy-Cons and the upgrading pathway to upgrade your Switch games instead of, like, I don't know, give it free fucking upgrades like fucking Microsoft is. Like, come on, really? You're gonna charge us for upscaling for hardware we've been waiting for fucking years to get, and you're gonna make us pay an exorbitant amount? Oh, and there's even reports too that some of the games aren't gonna have all the DLC available, that you're gonna have to buy the fucking video games yet again. And the battery life. Oh, the battery life's even worse than the original Switch. Let that one settle in for a moment. Oh, and the memberships. In order to, like, talk to people and chat with them in 2025, you have to pay memberships for that, even though I could do that free on for, Discord. Oh, speaking of Discord too, are you kidding me too? They purposely made the fucking videos that you watch your friends play video games on purposely fucking 15 frames. Yeah, they purposely mask you, like they slaughtered that purposely for the performance. Yeah, great. That's fantastic. I'm paying for a fucking service that barely fucking works. Oh, look over here. I could get a free service of the same thing just by using Discord. And while we're still on the topic about memberships and stuff, there's a specific button on the Joy-Cons that if you accidentally press it, it's gonna bring up a membership paywall and pause your game so you could pay for it just so you could use those features. Yeah, totally nothing else wrong with the Nintendo Switch 2, right?
Millennials and Zoomers have become excessively entitled from being terminally online and just crying about everything all day, but really not understanding how money works now? Because adjusted for inflation, people were paying over $100 for Nintendo 64 games in the 90s.
Oh, why are you like this?
You do understand that our wages have been stagnant for like the past 25 years, right? This is the reason why they kept it so low for so many years, because it's ease of access for people to get a hold of these games. That's why people preferred consoles over PC, because consoles were a lot cheaper to access than PCs, but since now you guys want to keep inflating these prices, that line between PC and fucking consoles is ever so shrinking every single fucking time. Also, bit of a spoiler alert too, video games aren't this niche little thing anymore. We have completely gone mainstream, meaning so many people can get involved in gaming that the potential of audience members that you can attract is fucking enormous. There are literally no excuses to increase your prices beyond the point of, like, maybe gain a little bit of profit margin. That's about it. But this right here, what Nintendo's doing, is inexcusable. You want an example of a game at price point right now at $60 and selling very well for the past 3 fucking years? Here's Elden Ring over here selling 28.6 million copies ever since 2022. And let this one be a little bit of spoiler alert too. You thinking that they need to increase their profit margins to be profitable is not the way to go. What they need to do is fix a little skill issue and pleasing their fucking customer base. Actually listening to what they actually want instead of like, let me get the damn. The Dennis told me that sounds very well. Let's go and make a sequel of XY bullshit. Like, seriously, I don't know how many people asked how many times a remake played, like, please make a remake of this. You'll make millions off of this. Like, fucking really? Listen to your fucking customers for once in your godforsaken lives.
And objectively, the games are better now. It's actually incredible. They've been around $60 for as long as they've been.
Dude, are you fucking kidding me? It seems like every Switch game that comes out has a major fucking issue compared to the old games. Compared to the old games, you had to find these glitches or you would just like randomly encounter them. These days, if you play like games like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, you literally glitch through the fucking maps. You try to capture Pokemon, the Pokeballs glitch under the fucking ground, or there's some weird glitch going on with like the other trainers' Pokemon. Like, dude, really? This is your argument here? Well, my game doing that better. Shut the fuck up. And you know what? I've done a little more research into Verlisify, or whatever the fuck you say his name is. I'm pretty sure somewhere in this video, he's gonna mention about Zelda or some other game, about how glitchy or broken the game is. I'm willing to bet that right now.
So now we have a console that can handle higher fidelity, larger games, and people are complaining. Mario Kart World is not possible on the Nintendo Switch or a slightly better console.
Nice argument, Senator. Why don't you back it up with a source?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Did you spend any time with the Nintendo Switch and its hardware at all? Have you like gone into like look at videos with its like deep dives into the Nintendo Switch? Have you ever overclocked a Nintendo Switch before to see its actual true potential with, you know, without Daddy Nintendo over there fucking limiting the hardware that you purposely bought? I'm gonna say no by the way that you're talking in this video and you're down talking people. Yeah, my answer is gonna be a big fat no.
Nintendo Direct, the whole time I'm thinking, this thing's gonna cost $500. Oh no. And the same thing applies to the games, that the power of the Nintendo Switch 2 means we get games that were impossible to have on the Nintendo Switch, so the price increase only makes sense and is only fair.
Let me get this straight.
You're okay with them reselling the same game over again to you and not even including the DLC, mind you. Yeah, recently it just came out that Breath of the Wild is not going to have its DLC and it's going to cost you $90 for the base version. You're okay with that? Really? And those same Switch games that you're talking about too, bit of a spoiler too, Nintendo's using emulation to upscale those. You want to hear from modern vintage gamer? Here you go.
So this particular information comes from the Ask a Developer blog series on Nintendo.com, and it really kind of goes into pretty detailed analysis and discussion about how Nintendo were able to solve the backward compatibility problem, hence what I was talking about 2.5 years ago. And right from the jump, they're very transparent about how they were able to solve this problem. And it is one of those particular scenarios that I outlined in my video. So let's go ahead and kind of read through this. Now it says here, right from the beginning, we wanted the new system to be able to play Switch games, but back then we were told there would be technical challenges. When we first started Switch 2 development, the focus was enhancing its performance as hardware, namely expanding its capacity. So what they're saying here is that the new platform, the focus of the new platform is the new platform rather than thinking about, playing old games on that new platform. That sort of is something that comes later on potentially through the life cycle of the hardware design and development. And then it goes on to say, for example, Nintendo DS games were playable on 3DS and Wii games were playable on Wii U. But it was difficult to achieve the same level of compatibility with Switch 2 because the hardware design approach was different from those systems. So what they're saying here is that in the past, Nintendo has always solved backward compatibility by simply providing the appropriate backward compatible hardware on the motherboard. So when we talk about the 3DS to the DS, there is backward compatible DS hardware. The DS had backward compatible GBA hardware on the motherboard. The Wii U had backward compatible Wii hardware on its motherboard. So it was always a lot easier just to run those games. And you'll notice that those games are always running in their own little sandbox. Now, moving on, it says, it's tricky to explain. Maybe the easiest way to understand it is that the methods used to achieve compatibility between Nintendo DS and 3DS and between Switch and Switch 2 are completely different. Simply put, those systems were compatible because Nintendo 3DS contained DS hardware and Wii U contained Wii hardware, as we said. However, Switch 2 doesn't contain any Switch hardware. And this is where we get into the meat of the discussion. Does this mean that Switch and Switch 2 aren't compatible at a hardware level? Exactly. This time we decided to take on the challenge of using new technology to run Switch games. If we tried to use a technology like software emulators, we'd have to run Switch 2 at full capacity. But that would mean the battery wouldn't last so long, so we did something that's somewhere in between a software emulator and hardware compatibility.
Imagine paying for an emulator. Can't be fucking me.
Forgot about DLC. People are paying $90 for Pokemon with DLC, or the DLC pack for Mario Kart 8, where now we just have more in one game for cheaper total.
You really are God's perfect idiot, aren't you?
You do realize you're paying for the DLC once again, right? And especially this little upgrade that they did through the emulator on the Nintendo Switch that you have to pay to access that. Yeah, bit of a spoiler alert. If you've got 2 copies of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, that's $120 that you spent on there. And then with the DLC that came out, that's like $40 right there if you put the tax and all that stupid shit. That's $200. And then we have the upgrade packs to upgrade it to Nintendo Switch, and for argument's sake here, we'll say that's like $20 a pop, right? 2 times 20 is 40, so that's 240. And then, for as far as we know, we gotta buy the DLC again, which is going to be 40, another 40. That's $320 yet again. Yeah, we're totally saving fucking money on top of that when this could have been all for free without additional purchase. I really hate when these people sound like they're pro-consumer.
Oh yeah, also Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, that had DLC, so like a 2017 game, even with the inflation and then the DLC, that experience is $100. So yeah, inflation's gone up about 30%, so the game price is going up 30% with the new generation of consoles that are stronger and going to give us objectively better games. That's just fair.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next product.
So let me get this straight. Nintendo finally meets the fucking criteria of being a modern with the, modern graphics, modern functionality with their fucking games. And it just gives them justification to absolutely rake us over the coals in the price tag? Nah, I'm gonna deny that one, Chief.
What is there to complain about? How is anyone boycotting Nintendo?
See, here's the funny thing though. We can boycott Nintendo and enjoy our cake too. Because what people don't realize is that we actually have the power to fuck over Nintendo right now. Do you understand that? Do you understand that they don't get a single cent out of pre-owned objects? Yeah, so say like their hardware, you go through like apps like OfferUp, eBay, GameStop, where they have the pre-owned section of games. Yeah, you could go over there and buy those stuff. Yeah, pre-owned. And Nintendo doesn't see a fucking cent out of that at all. And well, there's the other way, but my jar of dirt over here, my legal lawyer over here, this nice little jar of dirt over here is telling me not to say it. So I'm gonna listen to my jar of dirt. I've got a jar of dirt. I got a jar of dirt. Na 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 na.
And this is actually why I'm making the video, because I started seeing these videos in my YouTube. And I'm like, wait, really? People are this upset? There's this many brats out there?
And you are a ridiculous, immature, half-wit moron.
Aw, what's wrong? Are you a little jealous of other people's success in this situation? Just like you were with Wolfie VGC and PokeTips? Yeah, I know what you've done in the dark.
It kind of shows that the complaints, Nintendo should not listen to them at all. Don't worry, I'm too broke to buy anything. So these are just underperforming losers that are getting massive amounts of support from other underperforming losers just being entitled brats.
Damn you, I will not be ignored! Get back in here! Get back in here and love me! Ah!
This is the best example of how you are reacting right now. Why aren't you giving me any attention? I've got the more popular opinion.
These are not consumers that you actually pay attention to, and I think Nintendo understands that. They confidently put out the price, they confidently did this. Welcome to the next generation. Nintendo did it first. It was going to happen with Sony, it was going to happen with Microsoft.
It's already happened, dude. What the fuck are you talking about? The $70 is already here. If you go look, like, if you compare it to this generation, to last generation, sales have been going down for video games ever since they decided to increase the price tag. And guess what fault? Guess what partook in that problem? Increasing the sales of the video games. Yeah, congratulations, you're behind like fucking Nintendo.
Easiest boycott ever. I can't even dish out that money anyways. So even if, let's say, the Nintendo Switch 2 was like $400 and the games were $60 or still $70, well, that means like after 1 or 2 games, they don't have the money, so they can't further support the product. So whatever they were going to be able to contribute is capped anyways, and it's just not worth it for the overall profit and also just the price margins of having the offerings where it is.
I will send you to Jesus.
I'm gonna burst this whole fucking argument wide the fuck open real quickly. You know the Nintendo Switch 2 costs like $450, right? Right, guys? Right? And then the bundle with Mario Kart World is $500. So if we do some quick math in our head, that's $50 difference, meaning that they value Mario right there at $50, not $80, $50. Okay, stay here with me on that one. If they decrease the prices of those games and their exclusives down to $50, brought the console down to $400, it would make it more enticing for these people to go out there and buy your products. It wouldn't be such a big fucking deal. It'd be a win for Nintendo's bottom line over here. That's the reason why I heard so many customers before said, I just rather prefer to get the Nintendo Switch because it's portable, cheaper, and I get to access their games on the go wherever I go. How is this a hard concept for, Nintendo, the people that made this, and for you as a Nintendo fan?
That people are trying to call this like, oh, it's the next Wii, it's going to be a Wii U situation all over again. We have a great console and then Nintendo destroys it because it's a cycle. That's not how it works. You just don't go good, bad, good, bad, good, bad forever. There's nothing to base it off of right there.
What are you, fucking stupid?
Nobody tell them. Nobody tell them what happened with the Wii U and the previous console gens and why they failed so spectacularly. Nobody tell them, because I want the Switch to end up the same way. Granted, I never want Nintendo to, go bankrupt, but these are the one of the times that Nintendo does need to fail.
Here, we have a jump in quality with absolute banger games and fair price distribution.
That's rich. Go on.
There's at least $20 worth of new content for the Nintendo Switch 2 editions of the game, and it got its own segment in the Nintendo Switch Direct, where people just not paying attention.
You know this is not a new fucking concept, right? You know corporations that do free-to-play games actually do this, right? Like every single time. Free-to-play, yeah, like Marvel Rivals, the ad content. This is not new. This is something not revolutionary. They could have done this for absolutely free. But no, people like you are just going to gargle the balls of Nintendo.
We're like, oh, these are different game types where now we're paying for Jamboree plus Jamboree TV, and it's also going to just perform better with the new features of the Nintendo Switch 2 and all that integration.
Again, emulation is what's making it better, and all they're doing really is just giving you free content, except this time they're making you pay for it.
And then you look at how much more is inside Mario Kart World and how this is not possible on the Nintendo Switch, and everything is just better. And then we can kind of see the other upgrades. So it's all adjacent. It should all be really obvious to piece together.
Blah, blah, blah. You know what? Here's a bit of a hot take on this one. That game just looks like Mario Kart 6 with additional features. That's it.
Will there be $80 release games that aren't worth the value? Yes. Then skip them. But so far from what we've seen, it's all fairly priced, and it just makes the most sense.
How can you make a deduction like that if you have never touched those video games yet? The Nintendo Switch 2 is not even out. You haven't even touched Mario Kart World yet. How can you fucking say those are worth the money? Really? Really?
Looking at reality and the numbers, so the Nintendo Switch has sold 150 million units. So people are trying to think like, oh, this is going to be a Wii U situation. It's going to be like a complete collapse. Only a tenth of the people are going to buy it because it's so horrible of a value. I mean, let's just say like numbers-wise, we go $300 versus $450 and we lose 30% of sales right there. All right, that's still 100 million units.
That's still bad, though. That's still bad. That's money. That's 30% that Nintendo has lost in sales. That's enough to send a signal to them that we're not dealing with this bullshit. And I would love that number to increase to 60% too, to send a clear message to them that you're going to knock this shit off and not do this shit anymore. So that's 30%. That's huge. Freaking, what is it? Investors are going to look at it and say, why was that money lost right there? What is happening here? Do you want to understand business?
But if there's less people buying the console, then there's going to be less people buying these overpriced, unacceptable games. Has no one actually seen the sales of the Nintendo Switch games?
You guys hear him right now? It sounds like he thinks he's got a win in this conversation. You do realize Mario Kart 6 was part of the bundle, right? A huge bundle on Black Friday to purchase that game, right? You do understand that. So half of those sales I wouldn't even fucking technically count because they were bundled, and you really don't count that towards sales, but you know, fucking Nintendo does whatever fucking Nintendo thinks that they could do. On top of that too, you notice how the rest of those games that didn't come around the COVID time, except for Animal Crossing, ever only got close to 50 million. I wonder how bad it's going to be with the Switch 2 if they keep going the way that they're going right now. I wonder how bad it's really going to be.
Like all the complaints about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet just being unfinished and that Game Freak is lazy and they shouldn't make Pokemon games anymore. Actually, one of the highest selling, highest grossing Pokemon games, and even beat out Pokemon Sword and Shield. Like, this is the sales difference with a 3-year gap.
Oh my god, I think I gained a chromosome hearing all that.
This man does not know how to count. I'm dead serious. I just showed you guys right there. He thinks 38 is higher than 60. He really, truly thinks that. Now, grossing, maybe, but the total sales, hell fucking no. You want to know the Pokemon that's got the total fucking sales out of the one? It's Pokemon Red, Green, and Blue, selling at 31 million fucking units. And if we're gonna technically bring inflation into this discussion too, technically Pokemon Red and Green Blue over here sold more if we were gonna use your Jar Jar Binks fucking logic over here. Holy shit, this man is actually fucking stupid.
Open world Pokemon is great, and no one cares because it's not an action game, so you don't need 30 FPS the entire time. And lag and glitches exist in every AAA title release ever. So the game itself is so good that those performance issues don't matter. And guess what? On the Nintendo Switch 2, we're not going to have those performance issues.
My brain hurts so fucking much, chat, my guys. It hurts. It hurts. He's so fucking stupid. He doesn't know the difference between software and hardware. He has no idea at all. Oh my god, my brain hurts. Good god. God, I want this video to end already, but I've got so many more fucking clips of being stupid.
We have a 2022 open world game trying to run on 2015 hardware. There's gonna be problems, and you can say, yeah, but Breath of the Wild 2 Kingdom performed good. It's like, no, that game has a billion glitches, which is why the speedruns are out of control.
Good try. 9 out of 10 for effort.
You know you purposely had to go out of your way to find those glitches on Tears of the Kingdom, right? Versus Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, you literally fucking walk and you can notice these graphical issues. Tears in the fucking screen. Lag. Even if you time it correctly with your Switch on a regular timer, you'll notice the lag within the game of how bad it really fucking is. On top of that, that? Glitches galore. You're throwing a Pokeball at a Pokemon? Well, you better hope to God the Pokemon doesn't glitch under the fucking ground, or the Pokeball doesn't glitch under the ground, or God for sakes, you fucking playing with one of your buddies and your buddies just come around the fucking corner like a Frankenstein out of a fucking Anubis' asshole.
And a lot of the early things, like the early graphical glitches from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, were unstable, pirated versions of the game because the game leaked early. Also, on unstable, hacked consoles.
I'm sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit.
Oh, that's a bunch of bull, and you know it. The first fucking day this game came out, Scarlet and Violet, literally you saw all the glitches on Twitch. Every time you would click on a video to go watch a streamer play this game, you literally saw them caught up in a glitch that didn't even happen on their end. Glitching on a mountain, glitching in a city, the poor frame rates, you name it, it was happening on there. So please don't bullshit us. Don't try to rewrite history for the favor of Pokemans. I know you love Pokemans, but you're not rewriting history here. We all know you're full of it.
Complaints I've seen about Nintendo games really show that the people complaining are just ignorant kids that have never actually played any other games or experienced real games before. Oh no, I fell out of bounds once. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is like the worst poorly made game ever.
I love how earlier he tried to make that argument about how classic games are more buggier than modern games, but yet here he is acknowledging all the bugs within the games that are, you know, within the modern era right now. You gotta love it with these people.
It's like, no, you experienced a standard glitch. Or like at some point, it's just dishonesty where, yeah, now you're ignoring all the crazy stuff that happens in Nintendo 64 games, which are revered as masterpieces, like Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time or Mario 64.
Yeah, because guess what? You had to purposely go out and find those glitches. And on top of that, too, literally the games used to come out complete. They're not just sliced up in DLC that sold us to us later. You know, like DLC? Duh.
Speedrunners also complain about lag in those games, which is why they need to do setups to mitigate lag. So Pokemon Scarlet and Violet being as glitchy and as laggy as these older generation masterpieces, unacceptable.
None of these older games are as buggy as fucking Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I'm going to tell you right now, I've been gaming since the N64 and Game Boy Color, and I've pretty much played a good portion of the library that Nintendo offers. I have never ever played a Nintendo game as buggy as Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and I can put the Nintendo seal approval on that one.
Also, $20 more for a new game is not going to break you. Cool, you don't have to have it on release, you just don't eat McDonald's and then you get it at the next paycheck.
Or, hear me out, McDonald's and Nintendo can both kiss my ass. I'm going to the grocery store, making myself some food, fresh at home, and then I'm going home and playing my back catalog. How about that?
That's what I mean, where it's also just like a weird entitlement about how people don't understand or respect money. It's like, sick. Now you budget and respect your things more like you should have for your entire life.
Fantastic idea to shame the people that are already on the fence of not buying the Nintendo Switch. Congratulations, you just convict them of not buying the fucking video games and going through other fucking means of not supporting Nintendo. Congratulations.
Also, better games that last longer are going to have more long-term value, so the like hours played per dollar are going to go up.
I hope Nintendo farms this dude. No, I'm dead serious. I hope Nintendo nickels and dimes this dude to freaking endgame. Because he does not value his money at all, and he wants to simp for freaking Nintendo over here? Okay, bad. Let's put a timer on every hour that you spend on a video game on Nintendo's platform. Every hour that passes by, you gotta cough up $5, okay? Let's do that right now. I want you to do that. Every single hour that passes by on a timer, you cough up $5. Bet you're not gonna do it.
On the Nintendo Switch 2, or again, it's going to make you respect your decisions and your choices. So instead of just going, I'm going to buy this game, even if I'm just like kind of interested in it, play it, maybe like sell it back and lose a good amount of money. I get store credit for the next game, and then I get store credit for the next game, and you're just kind of like half invested in everything you're just cycling into. Well, each of those transactions is a loss of value that's going to be larger than the price difference between Nintendo Switch games and Nintendo Switch 2 games. So yeah, actually commit to your games, and then you're just going to have more value and more money overall. Daddy Nintendo, I guess, has to teach you how the world works and how to be responsible, and people are mad.
Or, better yet, if you want your Nintendo products and give Nintendo the middle finger, buy your stuff pre-owned. Trust me, Nintendo's not going to be very happy about it, but you'll still technically be, doing it legally, so yeah.
It's another thing where it's like, oh, if you're actually invested in this, where you've supported Nintendo Switch Online, which is an incredible value, it's less than $2 a month for online play. Servers aren't free. So yeah, it's not Nintendo's responsibility to lose millions of dollars a month just because you don't want to pay $2. It's not even like a can't afford option. And then you get the Nintendo Switch Online game library, which is beyond incredible for $2 a month.
I can't physically throw up in my mouth.
That's funny though, because I remember every Nintendo YouTuber that was talking about the Nintendo Switch did a deep dive on the servers, and it turned out it was just peer-to-peer. There's no fucking servers. You're just paying for just to use your internet. And you know what? Nintendo's not the best. Actually, they're dead last. Right behind PlayStation, right behind Xbox, and right at the top, of course, who's king, is PC. So trust me, don't play these bullshit games.
So yeah, real Nintendo fans get priority, and oh, you actually had to play the games more than 5 minutes. And yet people are also upset about that. It's an anti-scalping measure, sure, but also why are people just arbitrarily upset about that when they don't like Nintendo enough to support it, even though the Nintendo Switch has been an incredible console and ecosystem?
You know what Nintendo only had to do to stop the scalping? And this is such an easy little process that they can do, because you know what? Their fans are practically doing it on eBay right now. All they had to do was go on eBay and report these fucking listings that are overpricing the Nintendo Switches. That's all they had to do. But now they've got to put extra bullshit on their own customers just to access the new hardware and the new games. Yeah, this is not the smartest fucking thing they've ever done since fucking, I don't know, whoever invented bread. The only thing that was really good about the Nintendo Switch's ecosystem was the exclusives. That's really about it, dude. I don't know why you're getting so hyped over the ecosystem, because we all know the fucking pretend servers over there are absolute dog shit.
So yeah, these losers being Squidward in his dark room watching productive members of society have fun playing the new Nintendo experience. I'm happy they're not going to be a part of this. Yes, please, boycott it. We'll be just fine. These people are ruining the quality of games and gaming communities.
The only people that are hurting this industry right now is you troglodytes. Do you understand that? Do you understand? Every single time I look around the corner, every time I see one of you people kissing Nintendo's ass that they can do no wrong at all. Like seriously, I don't understand what Nintendo has done to make you guys so blindly loyal to this level of absolute bullshittery.
Pokemon Scarlet and Violet wasn't rushed, and it's objectively a good, finished game, and the sales reflect that.
Yeah, they sure are, even though they sold less than Sword and Shield, right? Right? You sure about that? Oh wait, never mind. This is a man that can't fucking count, or I guess freaking read, to be frankly honest.
So like, even if we tried to do some weird sales math or we factor in boycotts, Nintendo doesn't care. It isn't gonna fail.
I got no argument here. I'm just gonna say it's not gonna fail because X, Y, and Z, because the previous generation sold with these arguments that I hear all the fucking time give me more and more brain damage every single time I hear it.
And then there's also the world where, like, okay, people see the value, they see all this really cool stuff, and they pay up. Because that's also Nintendo fans. Like, if you look at amiibos and all the accessories and just the ludicrous amounts of money that Nintendo fans have always spent on like little peripherals and stuff.
You know, I looked online real quickly because out of curiosity, I was actually kind of curious about something, you know, basically using Google and pretty much everything else. You know what the most high selling amiibo? It's Link. Yeah, the Link amiibo only sold up to past 700,000. Others, yeah, if you like combine the others, it's like obviously over 1 million, to be frankly honest. And you know the Nintendo Libo, or however you pronounce it, or whatever the hell it is, the cardboard, yeah, it only sold 1.39 million units. Yeah, that's a lot compared to, like, how many units has the Nintendo Switch sold? Like 130 or 150 million? Yeah, that's It's a lot. That's, yeah.
Doing, okay, we're just going to do the same quality of console and upcharge without any value back to the consumer. No, the consumer is getting every piece of the price back in value. So if we have a stronger, more valuable console, it could just be the same amount of sales. It could just be everyone's in on it, and this is the best gaming console ever.
Yeah, it sure is the best console ever. It's finally doing things that the other consoles have been doing for the past, like, what, 2 decades? Yay, you guys finally get a app to talk to your friends directly on the console. And you gotta pay membership for it, even though we're in 2025 and people don't have to do that anymore. Yay, best console ever.
My guys, Nintendo convinced FromSoft to make a console exclusive game. We get Bloodborne 2 only on the Nintendo Switch 2. The boycott ain't gonna do so well.
You really think people are gonna buy a Switch 2 just to play Dustblood? Are you kidding me? People on PC didn't buy Kingdom Hearts till it decided to come to Steam from the Epic Store. People waited for the next iteration of PlayStation insert title over here to come to PC than buying a PlayStation. We are very patient. We'll wait. It'll come out, you know, and we'll just sit there like, yeah, if this is owned by From Software and it's their own IP, it's not going to stay exclusive for long. It's eventually going to come to PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. So we'll wait. And thankfully, fam, that is all the content I got for you guys. Holy cow, I'm just looking at the timeline right now. It is almost 36 minutes long. This video is going to be almost 36 minutes long. I cannot believe that. Nah, jeez, I can't believe that. But hey, you know what? I did want to remind you, if you made it this far in this video, please leave a like and comment in the comment section. Always appreciated. And hey, you know what? Subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to make it to 10K by the end of this year. And hey, you know what? If you're going to subscribe to the channel, remember, every single Sunday I stream. I get everybody around me. I get the fam. I get chat around me. We hang out. We make fun of fanboys and whatever popular things going around the internet around that time. But anyway, you know what? I'm just gonna say enough of the sellout stuff. I really do appreciate you for sticking around this long in this video. I truly do appreciate it. And hey, you know what? I hope to see you in the next video or the next live stream. Either one. But you know what? Like I always say, I'll see you in the next one, fam. Later.